What it do, family and friends? Welcome back to the Church of Black Power. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell so you can be notified whenever videos like this drop. Please make sure you're hitting that like and share button so we can beat up the algorithm. Make sure we get this message out to the ears that need to hear. And if you have not done so yet, please hit that link to change.org in the description and put your signature on the petition for reparations. And with that being said, family, we're living in the Twilight Zone. We are officially, I have to spread out that word. That's how far into the zone we are. We are officially in the Twilight Zone. Why do I say that? Because we got the Democratic shills now calling out Kamala Harris. We have the Democratic shills now speaking like the new black media. We have the Democratic shills now questioning their position within the party. Now, why do I say that? Well, if you haven't saw yet, Amanda Seals, the Democratic shill, is out here calling Kamala out, saying that she speaks out of both sides of her neck. Well, if that isn't calling the kettle black, but we a broken clock is right twice in a day, and we still will look at what she has to say, even though she's the hypocrite at this point in time for doing so. But I can appreciate her coming out and actually speaking the truth, because she got it from us to do so. Not to talk out of both sides of her neck, mind you, but the information that she's putting out, the way that she's doing it, she's trying to sound like the new black media. But let's be very clear. Amanda Seales is still a Democratic shill, regardless of whether she came out and said this or not. So let's jump into it. Let's see what she has to say.
Put in clips of Kamala Harris stating things. I don't need politicians to state things. I need politicians to do things.
Just off vert, she sounds very different than what she's previously sounded. And if I'm lying, please put it in the comment section. Where's the lie? Let's continue.
When I met with Kamala Harris after she summoned me, I said to her straight up, you talk out two sides of your neck and we don't know what you're talking about. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Kamala Harris who's trying to shut me the fuck up. Because I told her straight up that I feel like she is disingenuous in her messaging.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised either, Amanda. Let me tell you why. Because these kinds of people don't like to be held accountable. You're looked at as a puppet to them. You're not looked at as their peer. You're not looked at as someone that's on the same level as them. You're looked at as if you are beneath them and your only job is to raise them up. You are literally a step stool for them, and your job is to get on all fours so they can step on your back. So when you start talking and asking questions, or talking about some of the policies that she should be putting in place, or even speaking about how she don't speak about policies, of course she's gonna look at you like, how dare you? Because she don't like to take accountability, just like a lot of these Democratic folks don't like to take accountability. Just like when Clyburn got ran up on. Why you always fucking with me? I'm the one who wrote the bill. You see what I'm saying? These are the type of people that you have aligned yourself with. So no one is surprised but you, Amanda. And this is what we tried to tell you before you had to experience it for yourself. But let's continue.
And she said to me, well, you're being too critical. And I said, I am a voter. I'm supposed to be critical.
You're being too critical, Amanda. You're being too critical. When have you heard anybody who's running for politics, running for a position within politics, tell their voters that they're being too critical of them? As if we're supposed to just toss our hands up and say, hey, okay, you're a black woman. All right, cool. We're going to go ahead and give you our vote for nothing. We ain't going to ask you no questions because you're a black woman, even though she's not black. Even though she is not black. But this is what they expect you to do. They don't expect you to speak up for your interest. They expect you to be their footstool. And I'm not just talking about Amanda at this point in time. I'm talking about the whole of the black community. Let's continue.
That's my job. And I want to see actions. She said, well, how am I supposed to talk about racism in America without calling Americans racist? I said, well, first of all, there are many racist Americans. But there's also policy, legislation, institution, and systems that are racist that need to be addressed.
I wish she was speaking like this when she was talking about Biden. I wish she was speaking like this when Hillary was running. Because then she wouldn't have this stigma over her of a Democratic shield. If she would have maintained that and been consistent with that. I don't know why she chose to suddenly come out against Kamala, and I don't care. But what I'm saying is, even though she may be speaking facts, those facts are coming from us. We've been calling them out for the lack of policy. We've been calling them out for the chicanery that they keep on doing to the black community while they're running around here acting like this person's supposed to be black, or this person's supposed to be black, or this person speaks for us, or that person speaks for us. We've been calling them out. We've been calling out the tethers. We've been calling out people within the party itself for this very same reason. Where are the policies for the base of your party? So her talking points are all coming from us, but this isn't the first time that she heard this. So one would have to deduce that something happened between her and Kamala. We're not going to talk about that today, but something must have happened. And like Jen says up here, shout out to him for posting this. Welp, Kamala and her team not going to send for Amanda Seales anymore. And they won't, because they don't like being held accountable. So whatever happened to make Amanda hold her accountable, Kamala is now going to internalize that and make her her enemy. That's what happens with a lot of these politicians, because they're politricians. Or in the words of Torian, pie-lie-trictions. Anyway, let's continue.
They need to be addressed. And if you're not going to do that in an actualized way and in a loud, bold way, people will never really know where you're coming from. Well, you can't tell me how I feel. So I'm not telling you how you feel. I'm telling you how you sound.
Notice how this became about emotion while Amanda is finally speaking with logic. Kamala tried to make it about emotion. You can't tell me how I feel. And this is what they tried to do to the black community. Tried to make this about emotion, and we're keeping it on the logic. You can't tell us that we need to protect a woman who never protected us. You can't tell us that she's just like us, but she comes from a whole different background, ethnically, came here to use our people, and then used our people in order to gain higher ranks within her boule class. We ain't doing it. But they tried to emotionalize the situation, talking about black men need to protect this black woman, and she's not a black woman. Black men ain't gonna sit back and let them talk stuff about. Y'all heard what Van Jones said. I played it in my last video. But the fact of the matter is, this woman has never been for black people. Ever. And the only people that says she's black is people outside of herself, because I've never heard Kamala Harris say she was black. Even in a clip I'm gonna show you a little bit later with Luke, he makes the reference that she's black. She does not. But we're jumping ahead of ourselves. Let's continue with Amanda before we get to that part, because there's a lot in between. Let's continue.
I'm telling you how you sound. Okay? The truth is that you should always question your source and what are their intentions. And what you all need to know is that I don't need to do any of this. I don't need to talk about any of this.
Yeah, Amanda, you didn't need to be shilling either, but you were. You were, and now I get it. You're trying to come home. You want to come back to the black community, and I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen, because you deliberately sold out your people for as long as you wanted to. Or people who look like you. Because you wanted to. You danced with the tethers. So guess what? We're treating you like a tether, whether you say this or not. Just need you to understand that. I wish you wouldn't have. We would have embraced you and all that if you wasn't shilling for the Democratic Party. Even if you did choose to be a Democrat. If you were able to speak up for your people as a Democrat, people in our community would look at you as somebody who should be held up, uplifted and protected and all this other stuff. But no. Your decision was not to be in the Democratic Party for the black community. Your decision was to be the shield for the Democratic Party against the black community. So let's get to some of these comments and see what people were saying. Shout out to our sister Vicky Diller, our dear sister Vicky Diller. I think we schooled Amanda well, and I second that. Go ahead and hit the like on that. I second that.
When I met with Kamala Harris after she summoned me.
Somebody here saying the same thing that I said. You talk out two sides of your neck, Amanda Seals. They're quoting her here, but still, you talk out of two sides of your neck, Amanda. And the reason why it was posted in the clip like that is because they wanted people to hear how she said Kamala talks out of two sides of her neck, while she herself talks out of two sides of her neck. let's continue. We're going to go over here to this one here because they started really coming after her too. Once you go against the Democratic Party, all the Democratic shields get sent out. All the Democratic shields get sent out. The Democrats go and tell their shields to go and do what they need to do. The Democrats turn to each other and they say,
"Send in the clowns."
And that's exactly who the hell they send out. So this woman, or this account, don't even know if it's a woman, called Blacks Against Trump. It says, go watch Kamala Harris' speech from 2020 when she addressed racism. Amanda Seales need mental help. Oh, wait a minute. When we were saying Amanda Seales was mentally unstable for shilling for the Democratic Party, oh, people was defending her left and right. But now that she's speaking up against Kamala Harris, now she needs mental help? And you all remember, people would literally protect this woman. Anytime she spoke up on the Democrats in a positive way, Biden in a positive way, and we called her out, people would come after us. But now that she's calling out Kamala, she needs mental help? That's very interesting, if you ask me. Very interesting. However, many people have been coming out calling this out. Before we go there, though, I want to show you this. Beautiful mosaic of Kamala Harris made of all the black men she locked up and kept in prison past their release date for jail labor. Slavery. Just so y'all know. But let's go here. Kamala Harris broke the state record for incarcerating black males. Let that sink in. With Doug over here, that Plies love so much because he saw Doug at an airport and Doug was sagging his pants. He said, "That's some black in Doug. That's some black in Doug." Probably the same black that's in Kamala. You know, Montel Williams. Lowdown, Willie Brown. I mean, that black is in Kamala. Maybe that black is in... Never mind. Let me just move forward from this. Let me move forward. And then this one. Indian woman, Indian man born in Jamaica. Don't equal black. And that's real. So like I was saying, there was many people calling the shenanigans of the Democratic Party out. The people who are sitting there saying that Kamala is black and all that other stuff. There's many folks that's out here calling it out. So let's go to this sister here. Shout out to this sister for saying what she said, because to be 100% honest with you, this is what we've been saying for a long time. And this is how you know it's starting to reach the right people.
About our lineage. Who are we? We're Black Americans. I can trace my family back, my ancestors back to the 1700s. Okay? So we're Black Americans. We have been here since the founding of the country. That matters, does it not?
I just wanted to pause it here because I wanted to make sure that we give this queen her glory. Kathleen Wells. She's the executive director for Black America for Immigration Reform. So shout out to her for saying what she said. I'm gonna let her continue, but I wanted to give a shout out to her for saying what we've been saying for such a long time.
Does it matter that our parents, our ancestors were here since the founding, since the 1600s, since the 1700s? Is that relevant? Is that significant? Yes, I think it is. Well, I mean, my ancestors didn't slave and sweat and toil and all that hard work that they did for Joanne Reed to have a job. She's from the Congo. They worked for Black Americans to have jobs. They did all that for Black Americans, not people from the Congo who are first generation Americans. Not even Kamala Harris, who's Indian American and Jamaican.
Right.
My ancestors didn't work for Kamala Harris to have these benefits. They worked for Black Americans to have benefits. I think even Obama is not even a Black American. This is why using color, the skin color, is not sufficient. It's confusing.
Right.
And this is why I say white Americans and Black Americans have been in America the longest since its founding. And that is significant. That matters. That history matters. And so this is why, and I don't know why so many, and I want to get into this issue about Black women, Black American women supporting. I know it's nonprofit, but Black American women don't understand most of them, some do, but most of them don't understand. They think everything is about skin color. And that's a superficial analysis of the situation. They're not looking at the history. They don't know the history. And they're just so wedded to the political left position, embracing all of their policies. And their policies have been detrimental to Black America. They need to get away from that embrace of all these policies that are the detriment. So what I'm thinking, they're not doing their homework. They're not reading this cast your bucket where you are. Cast down your bucket where. They're not reading this history. They're being superficial. They're just watching the television and going along with what the politicians say. That is not sufficient.
Shout out to Kathleen. Like I said, it's reaching the right people. The education that we're bringing to the conversation is reaching the right people, because we're hearing a lot of people starting to sound like us, starting to sound like the new Black media in itself. Family. Now, this is what I put up the other day. The person has blocked me and several other people. Reason why I know that, because it says you're unable to view this post because its account owner limits who can view their post, which means she blocked me. But the person who blocked me was basically talking about Kamala is Black because she went to a HBCU. And those 4 years in the HBCU, experiencing the Black experience, hold measure, hold weight, which gives her the right to say she's Black. So what I did on my page, family, and go ahead and go to Twitter and give me a shout out, or give me a follow, the Church of Black Power. What I did was address that before she blocked me. I don't know. She couldn't stand the rain, apparently. But anyway, what I said was, think about that logic. Think about the logic in that, There are many white, Latino, Asians, and whoever else that attended HBCUs. With your logic, all of those people have the right to say that they're Black. No, they don't. Black people go to Ivy League schools. Black people go to the Ivy League schools aren't considered. Black people who go to the Ivy League schools, aren't considered white, are they? See, when you ask the very simple question, it's going to either warrant a very simple answer or they're going to block you. Black people who go to the Ivy Leagues aren't considered white, are they? Because if you're telling me Kamala going to a HBCU makes her Black, then Black folks going to an Ivy League college, which is predominantly white, POCs, we're going to be considered white, right? We'll be able to go into a bank and get a loan, right? We'll be able, come on. It doesn't work like that. It does not work like that. People of color cannot go to the Ivy Leagues. and then be considered white unless you're part of a certain lineage, which is Asian, some Latino. But black is not one of them. And the shades of black are not one of them. And when I say shades of black, I'm talking about the diaspora that people love to talk about so much. If you're Caribbean, you can't go to an Ivory League and become a white person and go to the next day and get a bank loan. If you're African, you can't go and become a white person by going to an Ivory League. So why is it different when we're talking about HBCU? All of a sudden, if you have 4 years of a black experience, then you are now black. That's the nonsense in their rhetoric. That's the nonsense within their rhetoric. Let's continue, shall we? So we have this person, Yandi Smith. She's supposed to be an entrepreneur, an activist, media mogul. Apparently, she's out here demanding for tangibles, which is all of a facade, because when you listen to what she's saying, she isn't demanding anything. She's literally talking out of both sides of her neck, just like Kamala does. Let's listen, shall we?
Because when we put Kamala in office, we have demands. I'm not begging anymore. I'm not begging for anything anymore.
That's very interesting. She says we have demands. It starts out great. Cool, we do have demands. Let's let her continue.
You're there because we put you there. We don't know if we like you that much anyway. Come on, speak on it. Speak on it. We put you there. You better do damn something for us.
Okay, all right. It sounds something like it's supposed to sound, but the thing she should have said is if we put you there, not when we put you there. Because basically what you're saying is you're going to get my vote regardless, but you better do something when you get my vote. No. You need to make sure that they understand that they do not have your vote. So if we put you there is what she's supposed to say. But when she said you're going to do something for us, all right, cool. That sounds like something a lot different than what other people are saying, until she continued.
We don't want to hear your hands was tied. We don't want to hear about the House and the Senate, although that is important, and vote on your local elections as well. But I saw Trump do a whole lot of executive orders. There was a whole lot of travel bans because Trump said so. You better put some executive orders in place, and I don't care about no money.
Did you catch that, family? She sat here and spoke about what was going on throughout these 4 years. She spoke about all the executive orders that their administration put out, Kamala and Biden. And she said she don't care when they get in there, they better do some executive orders. But then she ended with, and I don't care about money. So you are not a representative of our people either. Because we're banging the drum for reparations. We're banging the drum for black policy. And all you care about is her getting up in there and signing some executive orders? Executive orders for whom? If you're not talking about reparations, then you're not talking about nothing. So what are you saying? But in the same breath, she then goes on to say this.
It's time for us to stop waiting and wanting somebody to do something for us. It is time for us to do something for us.
You heard right, family. It's time for us to stop waiting and wanting other people to do something for us. It's time for us to do for us. Name me a time in American history that Black Americans haven't been doing for self. Don't worry, I'll wait. And don't worry, I'll continue to wait. Because there haven't been a time that Black Americans haven't been doing for self. And every time that we do for self, we're the ones sabotaged by our own American government. Whether we are being flooded, whether we are being bombed, whether we being just railroad out of our communities, freewayed out of our communities. What is this woman talking about? What is this woman talking about? Welcome to the damn church. I'm in this. Don't get me going, because this woman saying the dumb stuff that she's saying will put me into pastor mode. Because you can't name me another group of people that went through what we've been through in this country historically. You can't name me another people that's been here dealing with the government in the way we've been dealing with the government, fighting the white supremacists in the way we've been fighting white supremacists, literally having towns, cities, and anything else we build sabotaged by our own government. Who is this woman? This is the Church of Black Power. So we're going to speak about Black empowerment. And every time that we go and do something that will build Black empowerment for our people, we are sabotaged by the American government. And this is why reparations is a must. This is why reparations is a must. So you get out here and you start speaking all that nonsense that you talking about. You don't care about money. You need them to give us executive orders, and you don't care about money. A thing you want to talk about, we need to start doing for self. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. You're speaking out of both sides of your necks. What you're saying is contradictory to each other. What you just said is contradictory to the last thing you said. And you're supposed to be an entrepreneur, an activist, a media mogul. You sound like an uneducated buffoon. And this is why everybody don't need to be speaking for the Black community, because we have a lot of uneducated buffoons with mental issues running around here thinking they can speak up for us. But the nonsense that they're saying isn't what we're saying. They're not amplifying our message and our agenda. What they're doing is trying to create a new message and a new agenda, and that's not what we're going to let happen. Not at all. I'm going to let her continue, then we're going to continue on, family.
And it's that simple. It is time for us to do something for us, and I want something different. For 400 years, this country has been ran by people that did not look like me. We had one shot already. That wasn't enough. We need multiple shots of something different. That part. We need something different.
So basically what she's saying is still go vote Kamala. All that bull stuff rhetoric that she was just spewing out minutes before, seconds before, she's still in with, we need something different. Every time I look up, 400 years we had white presidents. Are you catching the gag? Are you seeing the showmanship that she's putting on right now? She's trying her hardest to sound like us, but she's throwing in all the nonsense that we would never throw in to anything that we say. Our message is very clear. No reparations, no tangibles, no policy, no vote. You don't get that from us anymore. In the same way that the Hispanics don't give you their vote unless you do something for them. In the same way that Asians don't give you their vote unless you do something for them. In the very same way that white folks don't give you their vote unless you do something for them. But Kamala understands that. That's why she's willing to do for everyone else but the black community, because she has shields like Yandi Smith, whatever. This chick who muddies the damn water. Let's continue.
Sonia needs something different. Breonna Taylor needs something different. Jimmy needs something different.
People like this need to stop bringing up our people that was tragically taken from us, because you really don't care about really pushing policies to protect us. And that's the facts. The other day, I saw that Kamala mentioned Sonia Massey, and I went off. And I told her, you better not ever bring up her name again. Keep our sister's name out of your mouths, all of you Democrats. Because when you had the first 2 years of your administration unchecked, you guys decided to give our hate crime bill to Asian Americans. So don't bring up our brothers and sisters that's been tragically taken away from us as a way to garner more votes. That is one of the most egregious things you can do.
Tatiana needs something different. We need something different. You guys have got to get out there and fight like we've never fought before. Like every bit of our life depends on it, because I know what I birthed in my womb, his life depends on it. I know what I birthed in my womb, her life depends on it.
I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm gonna do something that's only gonna benefit black people. No.
All right, fam, moving right along. Our young brother, Sway Lee, came out and he's addressing how he feels about Kamala. And I applaud him. I give him a hand clap if I ain't never gave anybody a hand clap. He says, do not vote for Kamala. Do your research on the whole camp. Not just Kamala. Notice he said, do your research on the whole camp. Do your research. But you got a bunch of people going after him. And like the coons would do. One person, Ashanti, says, I haven't seen you make one donation or post for the people facing genocide. What the hell does that have to do with what he just said? We're the people facing genocide. We've been in the ethnocide for a while now. And we've been facing genocide for over 400 years and counting. You haven't spoken up or attended any rallies for Black lives that were lost. But now all of a sudden, when the music checks tanked, you're talking about politics. You really cooned out right now. And Sway responded. He says, bitch, I was in the streets marching during the lockdown. Shush. Someone else says, why don't you do your research on Trump? He don't care for us neither. None of them do. None of them do, not even her. Excuse me, I don't know why I paused there. Let me restart that. Why don't you do your research on Trump? He don't care for us neither. None of them do, not even her. I probably stopped there because it needs a comma there. But anyway, let's keep going. Trump don't give a single care for black people or anyone but himself. He didn't care when little kids were being shot and killed every day in school, huh? This person here. Or the woman he raped. Okay, first of all, Trump has never been what is it called? Convicted of rape. So I don't even know why that's even a situation or issue. However, Biden don't care about the kids being shot either. They've been in office for 4 years. The first 2 years, they had the House and the Senate. And instead of giving us a national black hate crime bill, he gave it to Asians. Even though the FBI studies showed that black Americans were and still are the number one group that suffers from hate crimes. So what are you speaking about? And the person barely have any type of grammar skills. So Sway Lee ended up responding with you better go look at the things that Trump did for blacks. He actually done more than Biden. And 80% of others, the media portrays it one way. The facts are right there to access. These people and their non-use of commas and periods is astounding to me. I will make a list tomorrow if needed. I used to not pay attention, but the last sleepy guy did damage. Let's move on to something else he was saying there. I pay over millions in tax dollars every year. This man sent it to a whole nother country. Those little dollars that came off your check, they gave it away. Think about that shit. And he's right. He's absolutely right. No one can dispute that. The money that we sent away, every American citizen could have got a minimum of 200 grand. Think about that. But I guess we don't need that shit. We don't need the shit. And y'all standing for Kamala, my black people, she don't do nothing but sign off on things against y'all, us. And he's not lying. The money we sent away, every American citizen could have got a minimum of 200 grand. Think about that. But I guess we don't need the shit. And y'all standing for Kamala, my black people, she don't do nothing but sign off on things against y'all, us. Voting just cause you think she's black is not going to end in your favor. And I absolutely agree with him there. But you had a bunch of the plants. Talking stuff on him. Hate when you rap niggas only get politics from other niggas planted in your life for those exact moments in history. But it's okay to just get it from other rappers as long as it's not a rapper that's speaking against the Democratic Party, right? We're going to get to that in a minute. I have an exclusive look. Shout out to the Black Authority. We have an exclusive look of Kamala Harris changing her race, being transracial. Let me restart that. Now, just so y'all know, this is the actual real Kamala Harris right here. But being the chameleon she is, you know, she must continue. Yeah, family. So, shout out to the Black Authority, Jason Black. Shout out to Draco Wick. Yeah, I would say that's a perfect rendition of Kamala Harris code switching and switching her race. She's transracial, apparently, like Rachel Dolezal. Just like Rachel. But I want to take it over to this sister here who spoke about Kamala and Obama and all these other folks who are black within the skin color, within their melanin, but do not share the lineage of our people.
Deborah Dickerson. Ms. Dickerson. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Is Barack Obama black?
No, he's not. In the American political context, black means the son of West African, the descendant of West African slaves brought here to labor in the United States. It's not a put down. It's not to say that he had.
Now, let me remind you, this is 2007. 2007.
Hasn't suffered. It's not to say that he doesn't have a glorious lineage of his own. It's just to say that he and I, who am descended from West African slaves brought to America, we are not the same. He is an African American, or he is an
Should we
American,
think of a new name for what he is?
We do. We need a new name because
what about
there's
nouveau black? You know, late to the scene blackness.
Well, we could go with as black as circumstances allow, but.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
I like that. Well, I gotta say, Ms. Dickerson, I am disappointed in this because, I was really looking forward to voting for a black guy. I mean, I was really hoping to leave the voting booth and say, hey, I voted for a black guy.
You can say I voted for an American of African immigrant stock, and he's also a person who has adopted the role of being black. So he's a brother, but he's an adopted brother. And the significance of this, he's a beloved adopted brother.
All right, but shouldn't black people jump on the Obama wagon? Because if he doesn't have the burden of this past of being the descendant of African slaves, he doesn't feel the black experience, can't he just sort of carry the torch and y'all just piggyback on him?
Well, I think that's what's going to happen. I think Barack Obama is a wonderful person. We're proud of him.
Shout out to our sister Deborah Dickerson, because she called it out. She called it directly how it was going to happen in 2007. Shouldn't black people ride with him because he could pick up the torch and all this other stuff? But he don't have the same pain that we have. He don't have the same lineage. He doesn't have the same things that drape over us over him. So he don't care to fight for what we need. He's not one of us. They're not like us. It's basically what she's saying.
And this is not a critique of him. What this is a critique of white self-congratulation, of saying we're embracing a black person when we're not really.
Sounds to me like you are judging blackness not on the color of someone's skin, but on the content of their character, which I think realizes Dr. King's dream in a very special way.
Exactly. It's no longer about the skin color. It's about what you do, who you are, and the actions that you yourself are participating in. So tether in itself isn't a derogatory term against anybody who isn't the descendant of an American slave. Tether is a term for people who look like us, who goes around fighting against Black American interests, FBA interests, the interest of the descendant of the American slave. That's what a tether is. That's what a tether is. Let's continue.
It's not the content of our characters, the content of our history and our culture. And what we're doing by calling him black is obliterating the culture of his Kenyan father.
And of course, I'm the first Kenyan American to be president of the United States.
Simple and plain, family. Simple and plain. However, as I stated, they're not like us. And she stated they're not like us. The new black media been speaking about how they're not like us. You have people trying to co-opt our good brother Kendrick Lamar's song and try to make it about everything else except for being black. But the problem is, Kendrick told you literally in the song, once upon a time, all of us was in chains. Homie still doubled down, calling us some slaves. Atlanta was the Mecca of building railroads and trains. Bear with me for a second. Let me put y'all on game. The settlers was using town folks to make them richer. Fast forward 2024, you got the same agenda. You run to Atlanta when you need a check balance. Let me break it down for you. This is a real nigga challenge. So he let you know right off the back, it's about the slaves and the descendants of them. That's what our whole culture ties to. That's what our whole culture ties to. No, you're not a colleague. You're a fucking colonizer. But they're trying to colonize that song because they damn sure played it at Kamala Harris rally. And you got Connor over here getting his groove on with no issue.
Lover boys, certified pedophiles. Wop, 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 wop. That fuck 'em up. Wop, 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 wop. I'ma do my stuff. Why you trolling like a bitch? Ain't you tired? Trying to strike a chord, and it's probably A minor. They not like us. 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 They not like us.
Never mind that most of the people there aren't like us. Most of the people there aren't like us. And we're going to get into what they had to do to fill that arena. But just to make it clear, none of them there that I'm looking at are like us. And to the extent that some of them are, you're definitely not like us because you're still on the Democratic plantation, so you're not like us. We're out here calling out these plantations while you're trying to stay on one. While you're trying to stay on one. But while we're speaking about Kamala's rally, let's hear a few words from Command Me herself.
Donald Trump, on the other hand, has been talking a big game about securing our border, but he does not walk the walk. Or as my friend Quavo would say, he does not walk it like he talks it.
This is so cringe it hurts. This is so cringe it hurts. Shout out to Tariq for posting this. This is so cringe it hurts. You want to talk about securing the border when y'all crack the border wide open. 15 to 20 million illegals are in this country right now. Most of them taking up space in the black communities, pulling from our resources. Y'all giving them millions upon millions of dollars per state. Per state. But you want to talk about Trump not walking it like he talks it? And you want to bring up Quavo? One of the top mumble rappers in the world? He can't even get out a full sentence in the song, but yet you want to tell me that he should be speaking for us? Well, just so you know, she didn't just tell us he should be speaking for us. She allowed him to.
you can't understand the struggles of gun violence if you're not in the field or in the heart of it. So one thing I learned about working with Vice President Harris is she always stand on business.
Whose business does she stand on is the question, because it's not Black American business. Shout out to Beatzilla for posting this. Whose business does she stand on, Quavo? Where's Chris Brown when you need him? Somebody release Chris Brown. I'm going to need you to go ahead and put some pause on this man like you put the pause on the brother who you had beef with. So I just want you guys to be in the same room at a rally like this, and then you put the pause on them. Please forgive me, family, for even inciting black on black violence, but still, somebody needs to put the pause on this man. Or woman, depending on how you feel about the way he's dressed. This man is in a see-through shirt with pearls on, or diamonds that look like pearls. This man is out here looking like a straight chick. He's out here looking like somebody bent him over a couch last night. Family, I'm not trying to slander nobody. I'm just saying what the man looks like. Because when you look at how Meg Thee Stallion was looking, she was dressed like a man. She's in a full-blown suit. Quavo over here dressed like a woman in a see-through top. What man you know running around in a lace top? What man? Tell me. Drop it in the comment sections. Let me know. The shit that's going on has some shit going on. But let's get back to Meg. You had this thought. And yeah, I usually wouldn't, disrespect a black woman like that. But you got to call a thought a thought. You got to call a hoe the hoe, because she's out here trying to garner the whole vote. People wasn't feeling it either. People was not feeling the fact that Meg Thee Stallion was out here trying to garner the whole vote. And I'm going to show you both of these videos just so you can see her trying to garner the whole vote. Now, I'm going to rewind it just a little bit. Notice the girl in the pink and the girl in the green who's holding up their phones. There is no sway, no movement, or anything like that. I'm pretty sure they didn't want to be awkward, so what they did was pull out their phone. All these people with their phones out, none of them are swaying, singing along, rocking their arms, because this isn't what you're supposed to be doing at a political rally. It's not. It's actually disrespectful for your base for you to do such things. It is disrespectful. Let's continue. And there's also another reason why these folks aren't really enthused. And I'm going to let you show, I'm going to show it to you in a second, but I just wanted to let you know there is a reason why a lot of these folks are not enthused. Not just due to the ratchetness, not just due to the disrespect, but there is a reason. But let's continue. And we finally got somebody really slaying. Old granny down here to the right. We got one who's looking like, what the hell is wrong with these people? And then you got one right next to her really bobbing along with the Kamala sign. And even the people in the back who are moving around, they're not really rocking like the Asian lady is rocking down here, because they realizing they're notice they are realizing that this isn't productive at all. It's just not productive. So let's go down here. This is the video that she posted to her TikToker Rooney. This is what passes for black outreach for the Democratic Party. Get your booty to the polls. No voting, no bucking. And now Meg Thee Stallion all over the place. So, like I said, a lot of people wasn't feeling that Meg was out here tap dancing and cooning super hard. So she put out a statement on Instagram, and it states, they were fake mad. No, they wasn't fake mad. They were mad. Everybody was mad. They were fake mad that I was popping it for Kamala. And I don't think they I don't think they heard what she said. Kamala said she wants a ceasefire. That don't apply to us. We don't care. That's a whole different situation somewhere else. Kamala says she supports women's rights. Your right to abortion is what you're talking about? Because you don't have autonomy over your body. Regardless, they force many of you folks to go and get the vaccination shot. So they don't care about your right to your body. They're using it as a ploy, a political ploy at that. Kamala says she's tired of these high-ass gas prices. Oh my God. Kamala said, I'm for the people. Hotties for Harris. First and foremost, just because she says she's for the people doesn't mean she is, because we, the people of California, or people from California, can tell you verbatim, firsthand experience, that she's not for the people. And the people that she is for, they're not like us. They're not like us. Hotties for Harris. So she's trying to garner the whole vote, ladies and gentlemen. But I thought you shouldn't listen to these rappers. I thought you shouldn't be listening to these artists because, you know, They're not politicians. They're not politicians. They don't want you listening to Sway Lee, but to, the thought of them all, Meg Thee Stallion, Princess Thought, because Queen Thought is Cardi B. When Princess Thought comes around and start talking about voting for Kamala, now everybody should be listening? This is the stuff they try to play you with, family. And we ain't here to play. We are not here to play. Let's continue. We had some sisters come out against this nonsense that the Democrats sent out. The nonsense that the Democrats sent out. And let's hear what they have to say about this situation. Shall we?
Okay, just in case you did not know it, on yesterday, Kamala Harris had a rally in Atlanta, and it gave you like, oh, Atlanta's hype for her. Like, people are so excited for her. I know you felt it. I know you saw it. She even brought out ratchet Megan Thee Stallion, shaking her butt, twerking for a political rally, talking about hotties for Harris. If that did not turn your stomach, like, that is pandering, like, if you've ever heard it. But that's not the catch 'em. Do not let that rally looking fool you, because Fulton County has been doing this for years. Before the rallies, they get busloads and they go pick up the homeless people. They offer them food, drink, and a little change to come to the rally, so the rallies will look full. Now, you gotta realize she just dealt with the rally, and I wanna say it was Pennsylvania, where it was less than 60 people. It was quite embarrassing for her. And so that's not going to go down in this blackety black city. Okay. It's just not going to go down. They are absolutely going to make sure that thing looks packed out. So I want you to know, that's why you only saw certain angles as well. But I want you to know, people aren't for her like that. That's why they're having to pick up homeless people. That being said, I'm going to give her this. She's not the only one. It is a very Fulton County, Atlanta thing. You can see it before all of the Democratic rallies. You can see it. Now, I've never seen them pick up people and pay them to vote Democratic, but it's been said for years that they literally will go pick up homeless people on the days of the election and pay them to vote. They need the money, so they do it, because what poor and desperate is what they're banking on. I haven't seen that, but I have absolutely, and I saw yesterday them picking up the homeless people to come to the rally. So do not be fooled. They'll tell you it's a lie. I'm telling you, this right here, 1000% the truth.
If you ain't hear what our sister said, they are picking up the homeless. Kamala's rally was populated with homeless people. They are paying homeless people to populate rallies. And in some instances, they are paying homeless people to vote Democrat. That's against the law. That's against the law. But when you look at Kamala's whole little rally, and you got people who are very unenthused, it makes sense that they was out there picking up homeless people, offering them food, offering them funds to go to this rally. It makes perfect sense. Now let's get into what this other sister had to say.
Just wondering when the black community gonna realize the Democratic Party does not take us seriously. Or more so, they don't think that we're smart. Their strategy for decades has been hiring black entertainers to endorse them. Fast forward 2024, they're still doing the same thing. It is even worse. Because
fast forward 2024, you got the same agenda.
Now they sprinkling a little bit of ratchetness into it for relatability, and I'm just like, last election, Joe Biden's campaign for the black vote was telling black people that they not black if they don't vote for him. And getting some strippers to twerk with the word vote wrote on their booty. And also, for some odd reason, hiring Cardi B to endorse him, even though Cardi B's not black, but she was used to get the black vote. Not her own people vote, but our vote. Now we got Kamala Harris throwing a rally and Megan Thee Stallion is performing. Megan Thee Stallion is twerking. And y'all swear to God, this is to reach the black youth and get the black. Listen, these people don't take us seriously. They are not twerking and dancing and partying to get anybody else's vote. They are discussing policy, new laws, bills, resolutions for their community. They don't do that for us though. Kamala Harris literally got in office and told y'all that she's not gonna push nothing for black people just because she's black. That should have let y'all know right then and there. They only want the black vote for numbers so that they can get elected. But they ain't got nothing for black people. And no, this is not an endorsement for Trump or the right or Republican Party. This is simply a critique to Democrats to be more serious when engaging with black American voters. We are not a monolith. We're not all ignorant. We're not all party heads. And matter of fact, there's a time and place for all of this. We can party and we can get serious about policies and laws to protect us. You do not have to dumb yourself down to engage with black Americans. And bless Megan Thee Stallion's heart. Because while I know it was a big thing for her to perform, it just made her look like a puppet to me. She shouldn't have showed up as Megan Thee Stallion. She should have been Megan Pete. She should have had a speech. She shouldn't have been doing TikTok dances. Like, I don't know, y'all. I'm just so annoyed. Nobody takes her seriously. And Malcolm X himself clocked his T years ago. I can't believe that y'all haven't tried to revamp. Like, this is crazy.
Shout out to that sister there. But she's right. Malcolm X did clock this years ago. Matter of fact, let's hear what he has to say.
These leaders that they call leaders, this included Lena Horne, this included Dick Gregory, and this included comedians, comics, trumpet players, baseball players. Show me in the white community where a comedian is a white leader. Show me in the white community where a singer is a white leader, or a dancer or a trumpet player is a white leader. These aren't leaders. These are puppets and clowns that have been set up over the white community and over the black community by the white community and have been made celebrities and usually say exactly what they know that the white man wants to hear.
There you have it, family. There you have it. And that's exactly what we're seeing today. This is exactly what we're still seeing today. Straight from the same playbook. White supremacy is not original. They just follow the plays. They follow the plays. Let's go into this one here. I believe this woman is the same woman that set up the trip for Trump to go down to Atlanta last time to go to that Chick-fil-A or whatnot. But let's hear what she has to say. I don't want to be wrong, so I'm not going to say that it is, but I believe that it is. I think her name is like Michaela or something like that. But let's hear what she has to say.
They don't want to talk policy. They just want to use propaganda to steal your vote. The left is trying to tout this woman as a savior for the black community, but all she's done is hurt the black community since she came into the game. See, the first step in destroying the black community is to dismantle the black family. So aside from her record as a prosecutor, why don't we ask Mrs. Willie Brown if Kamala Harris cares about black families?
Mic drop. Godly. Before we get into the next segment, family, and we're almost done here, but before we get into the next segment, I'm going to give a shout out to our brother Marcel Dixon. If you are in South Carolina, make sure you go out and vote for him. If you have the availability, please make sure to go to his website, Marcel Dixon for Congress, and donate to his campaign fund. With that being said, family, I'll give you our brother Marcel.
Reparations a punishment of white Americans because of all the horrors that Black Americans have been through, such as slavery and Jim Crow? Nope. The reparations for your tax dollars? Nope. Reparations cause massive inflation? Nope. But they will help the economy. Some people are against reparations and you don't even know the first thing about it. And you probably get all your information from Fox News, Breitbart, and put it in university. Let's learn to actually ask questions. Let's actually talk and speak with others with whom we do not agree, because we might find out we agree more than we think.
I am Greg Marcel Dixon, and I approve this message.
All right, family. So, Kamala Harris has gotten, or they're reporting that Kamala Harris has received the nomination. Democrat says Harris has enough support to be the 2024 Democratic nominee. Now, I don't think that she really has the support to do that, but these farce of rallies may make it look like she does. But let's get into this clip and I'll be right back.
There's now a brewing debate over where to hold the first debate between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump. This comes as Trump campaigns in Georgia, while Harris gets closer to picking her running mate. Mark Meredith has the latest now from Atlanta.
Former President Trump had a lot to say on his Saturday stop in Georgia. It's a battleground state that he lost 4 years ago, but the former president says he's convinced he can win it this time around.
94 days from now, we're going to win the great state of Georgia in an epic landslide.
Georgia could prove pivotal in November. Polling shows Trump with a slight lead in Georgia, but his visit to Atlanta came just a few days after Vice President Harris rallied in the same location. Trump is now proposing to debate Harris on Fox News on September 4th, but the Harris campaign says it wants to stick to the debate he originally planned to do with ABC less than a week later. Harris is accusing the former president of trying to skip out on the debate, but Trump says his commitment to ABC was to debate Biden and not the vice president. Meantime, on Friday, the vice president officially clinching enough votes from the Democratic delegates to secure her party's nomination. The next step, choosing a running mate. One of the top contenders, Arizona Senator Mark Kelly, he spoke to Fox, coming to the vice president's defense on her handling of the border.
So she's done a good job.
There, absolutely. Numbers are down below about 1,500 per day.
Really? Really? She's doing a good job at the border? After weeks and weeks of you guys claiming that she wasn't the border czar, now you guys are saying she's doing a good job at the border? 1,500 people per day. Hogwash. Hogwash. You guys opened the borders and allowed millions upon millions, hundreds of thousands per day. Now that y'all got it down to 1,500 a day, she's supposed to be celebrated? Get the F out of here.
Because of the actions of Vice President Harris.
Other potential picks include some popular Democratic governors, Kentucky's Andy Beshear, Minnesota's Tim Governors, Kentucky's Andy Beshear, Minnesota's includes some popular.
Now let's look over these popular governors. Andy Beshear, J.B. Pritzker, the person who allowed those illegals to flood in Illinois and then gave them all kind of resources and everything else. Governor Josh Shapiro, aka the White Obama. And when I say the White Obama, this man is running around here with the same mannerisms and everything else. Tim Walz, Pete Buttigieg, which is probably the most likely. It's either going to be Josh Shapiro or Pete Buttigieg. And I'm calling it right now. Those are going to be the two people in the running for her running mate. Gina Raimondo, excuse me. I might have had that wrong. Raimondo, excuse me. Mark Kelly. And anybody who knows about Mark Kelly knows damn well Mark Kelly may as well just stay off the goddamn ticket as a whole. So when I say the only two that are really viable that Black Americans really don't have a lot of disdain for, it's Pete Buttigieg, even though we do have disdain for him, but not more than all the other people on here. Josh Shapiro, and a close third will probably be Gina Raimondo, just to be 100 with you. But let's continue.
Democratic governors, Kentucky's Andy Beshear, Minnesota's Tim Walz, and Pennsylvania's Josh Shapiro, who campaigned for Harris earlier this week.
Now, I want y'all to listen to this man speak and tell me if this is not Obama's mannerisms to the T. The way he speaks, the way he moves, the way he looks up to the sky at certain moments of his speech. Pay close attention to that.
I want a future where I can look the 47th president of the United States in the eye and say, hello, Madam President.
Vice President Harris is expected to name her running mate within a matter of days, and then the two of them are going to engage in a 7-state battleground stop tour.
Yeah, family. So those are the likely people who will be named as her running mate. Like I said, it's either going to be Pete Buttigieg or it's going to be the Shapiro clown, wannabe Obama. However, a lot of people don't like when you're calling these folks out. A lot of the people don't like when you call out the shills. Over the past week, I've been called a bot by one of the top Democratic shills of the time at this point in time. I came across this post on Instagram, so I clipped it. And I said, I'm going to use this post. After researching it and making sure it was true. It was actually a post that was posted by this person. But once I posted it, then I got attacked by the Democratic shills as well. So I got to play this before I show you who I'm speaking about.
Send in the clowns.
So, with that being said, D.L. Hughley had the nerve to call me a bot after posting something that was verified that he did say. Whether they spoke about it or not is not the concern. But he had the nerve to call me a bot. A bot strikes again. No, sir. Not at all, sir. Not a bot, sir. And I want to make sure that you guys see my response as well. So, I'm a bot, DL. Nah, you're just a tap dancing flip flop. You do remember where all that bot talk got the Democrats since 2016 and 2019, don't you? I'm curious. How much did they give you to sell out your own people? How much is your soul worth? And that's what it is, my family. If y'all don't remember what they were doing, they were calling us bots during the time of 2016 when Hillary was running, talking about we were Russian bots whenever we spoke up on reparations or a transformative black agenda. And then 2019, when Kamala Harris was called out for not being black, they did the exact same thing. A lot of suspected accounts are pushing Kamala Harris is not black narrative tonight. It's everywhere, and it has all the signs of being coordinated / artificial operation. No, we were just out here calling Kamala Harris out because we knew what our good brother Harriet Tubman's pistol knew. He posted it in such an elegant picture. This is the picture here. This is your karma Kamala Harris chameleon. This is what you have. She was out here screaming, lock them all up. She out here saying, I'm Indian. I ain't ever heard her say I'm black, but they put that on her. I'm black. Biden is a racist and has sexually assaulted women. I love Biden. Private insurers. Medicare for all. I'm a moderate. I'm a progressive. Marijuana, yes. Marijuana, no. Kamala Harris is a chameleon. She flip-flops when the time comes. When the time comes, she flip-flops. So before we get to the next clip, we're going to have to play this.
Send in the clowns.
And the clowns came on out because, as I spoke about earlier, when I said Amanda Seals don't understand how the Democrats do not like being held accountable and she won't get caught again, it's because Kamala has people to call on who won't question her, who will sit here and carry that stick, and inside of that bag that's hanging on that stick is apparently Kamala's blackness. So you got people like your Luke, or who they used to call Uncle Luke from 2 Live Crew. The man who showed some of the most degrading images of our black sisters. Some of the most degrading images. All of a sudden, he's a politician? All of a sudden, he does interviews. Luke and Kamala had a sit down about her blackness. Are y'all not entertained, Black Americans? Shout out to Soul Food 66. Is she black now? Let's get a gander of what was said.
What 4 words would immediately let you know about who I am? It's not in the vocabulary.
Is that when people...
Whoever did this video is hilarious because the first thing they put up is, I don't know, should we ask Willie Brown? I think we should ask Willie Brown. Or like, Michaela said earlier, even though I don't agree with everything she says or does, I agree with this. Let's ask Willie Brown's wife if Kamala's for the black family. But let's continue.
Question your blackness, you were on that bus, you were part of the civil rights movement.
So Luke is saying she was on that bus. Kamala was never on any bus, especially when it came to the civil rights situation with the busing. Also, she's never been in the civil rights movement. She wasn't even old enough to be in the civil rights movement. So, and like it says right there on the video, how in the hell was she a part of the civil rights movement and she was born in 64? That makes no sense. My mother was born in 62. Kamala is 2 years younger than my mother. So how in the hell was she around for the civil rights movement? How was she around for the busing? By the time the busing issues came up, she wasn't even really going to school yet. She wasn't 5, she wasn't 6. She was like 1 or 2, maybe 3 years old when the busing situation came around. And then she went, while she was still a young child, 5, 6, 7 years old, she moved to Canada. So what is this man talking about? This is why you don't listen to these type of people.
But the struggle is convincing people that this is a strong black woman who
This is a strong black woman who lived in, and you're seeing her family. Send in the clowns.
Send in the clowns.
This is what they're giving you. The clowns are giving you a bunch of nonsense that she wants pushed out there. But notice, she didn't say she was a black woman. She has never said she is a black woman. She's let other people say she's a black woman.
Lives a strong black life, and why is there any question?
You're right. It's frustrating. There was this one journalist who said to me, I'm doing this interview, and he says, well, you have family members that went to Stanford and Harvard, but you chose to go to Howard. No, elite schools like Stanford, but you chose to go to Howard. Now, you know I was ready to hang this thing up.
Y'all hear the sister girl accent trying to come out? And Luke is sitting there literally just eating it up. This clowning ass, buffoon ass nigga is sitting there eating it up.
Right.
I was about to go off, which would not have been cool, because I'm trying to get elected.
Yeah.
Family. Tell me your stomach isn't turning watching this. Tell me that you're not feeling the huge cringe that I feel. Let me know I'm not alone in this. Please put it in the comments, because this is ridiculous. And Luke should be reprimanded from the black community. You are no longer a part of this community. For your tap dancing ways, for your assistance in the erasure of black Americans, you are no longer a part of the black community, Luke. Go back to the 2 Live crew.
Yeah, but you went to Howard.
They went to these elite schools, and you went to, and I said, well, you do know that Howard University is the Mecca.
And what the hell does that have to do with you being black? So because you went to Howard University and that's the school you chose over your siblings, you're now able to say that you're black because you went to the Mecca? The Mecca of what, Kamala? Howard is the Mecca of what? Someone explain that to me. What is Howard the Mecca of? Is it the Mecca of creating these coon classes? Are they the Mecca of the boule? Tell me, what is Howard University the Mecca of? Because a few, I think months ago, probably about a year ago, I do remember Howard students living in squander on their campus, living with roaches, living with rats. Utilities that doesn't work properly. I could have swore Felicia Rashad was trying to put on the cake for Howard University. I could have swore. So what the hell is Howard University the Mecca of, Kamala? Or shall I call you by your real name, Kamala?
Exactly.
Just put that, let's put that in its place. And so the frustration, to be honest with you, is that, sometimes I'm like, look, I am not running to be Black History Professor. I'm running to be president.
Right.
Isn't that what the bootlicks used to say all the time about Obama? Obama wasn't Black America's president. He was America's president. All while he did for everyone else except for Black Americans. So what she just told you in Luke's face, she told this nigga, I'm not running to be a Black History professor. I'm running to be the president of the United States. We didn't ask if you were running to be a black professor. We told you you're not going to be the president of the United States due to your policies in the past and due to your policies in the present. We're not going to give you the opportunity to put through policy in the future. But she really thinks she was eating on this interview. Luke really thinks that he was eating on this interview.
Right.
And you all need to figure this out. And you need to figure out the diaspora.
The diaspora needs to figure out black Americans and stop coming over here trying to freaking use us as their step stool. The diaspora needs to figure out black Americans and stop using our faces to gain our resources. Do not speak about what we need to figure out about a bunch of people who fight to come here because we fought for the rights that we have here and they don't have it where they come from, even though they're the majority where they come from. Kamala, you are the most disrespectful when saying that. But she didn't galvanize Coons United to come out and speak and glorify her. Coons United has Luke, has the so-called Divine Nine, and it has Tethers. That is their new coalition, the Coons United. The Divine Nine says that they're going to be coming out in droves to make sure that they get Kamala in office.
9. Nine historically black fraternities and sororities formed more than a century ago when black people couldn't join white organizations. The Divine Nine has been a force in movements from civil rights to voting rights, and they say their political strength will make history once again this election.
Day one, Kamala Harris kicks off with an army. Look at just this force in this room.
Kamala Harris.
Family, look at that hairline. That hairline goes so goddamn far back. It goes so goddamn far back. It looks like it'll just fall right off her head. It looks like a toupee that's literally going to slip right off of her head.
Look at just this force in this room.
Kamala Harris joined Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority in 1986 at Howard University, making her one of the 2.5 million members of the Divine Nine. CNN sat down with a room full of Divine Nine members speaking in their own capacity and not on behalf of their organizations. They're aware of their potential political influence this election, and they're excited to wield it.
None of these people are out here speaking for black issues, but yet they want to make sure Kamala gets in the office. These are the same people that was donating, quote unquote, to her. These are the same people. I guarantee you.
5 million strong. Now look at how we can reach out to our families, our friends, our churches.
We are the Girl Scout leaders.
If any of these people reach out to you, family, you make sure you go off and give them an earful. They are not about the black community. They are about themselves. They're literally about no one but themselves.
We are the Boy Scout leaders. We represent every facet of Black America.
We are credible messengers.
No, buddy. You represent your class, not the black Americans. I think it said 2.5 million strong in the Divine Nine. We're 45 million strong outside of the Divine Nine. So what are you talking about? You don't represent us. You believe you have the authority to speak for us, which you do not. None of us is giving you the authority to speak for us. And the second you open your mouth speaking against us, saying that you speak for us, you show us who the next enemy is.
We have been in the communities. We have been working with these subpopulations, and they trust us.
Family, I want y'all to leave it in the comment section. Do any of you trust any of those folks? Do you trust anybody in the Divine Nine? Because she says that she's feet to the ground, boots on the ground, and she's working in our communities, and we trust them. I don't trust any of them fuckers. I just don't. I don't trust any one of them. That's why it's up to the black grassroots to keep their feet to the fire, because people like them is who take their feet away from the fire and put on some snuggly socks and help them get them shoes on their feet so that they can run over the black community. We don't do that over here on our side. The black grassroots stands up for what's right for the black community, not what's right for the Democratic Party. You are a shill. Let's be clear in that.
Harris and her campaign understands the value of this built-in political infrastructure, and they're leaning into it. In July alone, Vice President Harris has spoken at the national conventions for 3 Divine Nine sororities. Harris is poised to leverage this voting bloc at a level we haven't seen from a presidential nominee before.
We're not waiting for someone else to tell us what to do and how to do it. We're creating our own playbook.
What is this going to look like in practical terms?
After church on Sunday, we go downstairs to the fellowship hall and register people that aren't voting. And for those seniors that can't stroll to the polls, we're going downstairs and we're going to get them an absentee ballot.
Knocking on doors, phone calls, text banking.
This coalition is politically sophisticated, digging into strategy for battleground states like Pennsylvania.
We really need turnout in Philadelphia, and we need it in certain pockets.
And sharpening the message to motivate voters.
When we say things like democracy is on the line, I think low propensity voters, they don't know what that means.
Notice how they speak about the people that's not a part of them. If democracy is on the line, sir, then you would be willing to do anything possible in order to make sure democracy doesn't fall. So when we're sitting here saying what we need you to do for our vote is this, you should be up there telling that candidate, since you're in the Divine Nine and she's a part of your sorority and fraternities and all this other stuff, you should be telling that candidate this is what they need to get the vote. Not coming to us telling us we don't understand what democracy's on the line mean. You don't understand, we don't care. We've been here. We've been dealing with this. Democracy is always on the line. Every 4 years, democracy is on the line. But Black Americans has never been in a democratic country. Black Americans has never lived in a democracy. Our say-so has never been law. Our say-so has never been law. Look at what's going on in Chicago with Mayor Brandon Johnson. The city of Chicago literally said they don't want Chicago to be a sanctuary city, and they blocked that. They don't care about the democracy in Chicago. It is a dictatorship under Brandon Johnson. So who are you speaking to in the manner in which you're speaking, trying to convince us that democracy is on the line when Black Americans are on the line? Democracy is supposed to be in front of us. No. Our communities are on the line, not democracy. Not democracy.
So we have to have very simple talking points.
We also have white male counterparts that we also need to educate on how overly qualified this candidate is.
What makes her so qualified? The fact that she was a female version of Joe Biden? The fact that she locked up all the black men that she could, all the black women that she could in California, then fought to make sure they didn't get out of jail early or on the time that they're supposed to get out so that she can keep her cheap slave labor? What makes her so qualified? They never speak about that. They never speak about what makes her so goddamn qualified. That's because she's not qualified. That's because she's not qualified.
What I hear you saying is that the reach of the Divine Nine will not be limited to the black community.
They believe this political moment will make history for America.
Now notice what she just said. She said the reach of the Divine Nine will not just be targeted or just going towards the black community. Let me replay that so I make sure that I said that correctly.
They believe this
how overly qualified this candidate is.
What I hear you saying is that the reach of the Divine Nine will not be limited to the black community.
So it's not limited to the black community because they don't have the black community's ear. They don't have the black grassroots ear. So of course they would not limit it to the black community because they don't have the black community's ear. They have white people's ears because those are the people that they genuinely deal with. They have other people's ears, like Asians and Latinos and things like that, because those are the people that they genuinely deal with. They do not deal with the black grassroots. They do not have the black grassroots ear. So of course they have to divvy out from the black American group, even though we're the ones that's being targeted by the Democrats. Let's not get that confused. Let's not get that confused.
They believe this political moment will make history for America and the Divine Nine.
What people are going to walk away with is that our organizations are a force to be reckoned with.
9.
Not the black community is a force to be reckoned with. Our organizations are forces to be reckoned with. This is the problem. People are trying to make their organizations prestigious. They're trying to make their organizations the go-to for votes. It doesn't work like that. And I'm gonna be honest with you, this is one of the reasons why a lot of people stepped back from the ADOS organization. And if you're still a part, this is no diss to you, but I'm gonna tell you the truth. Because there's a difference between an organization and the lineage. When people start trying to tell you what to do overall because you're a part of an organization when you're there to speak for your lineage, that's a problem. When you have people putting down people because they didn't go to college in the same manner that they went to college, that's a problem. And I'm telling you this from a person who's in a black university, a historical black university. I'm at Texas Southern University. So I'm not just speaking out the side of my neck, but I can tell you as a person who's always valued education, you cannot go around sitting there speaking ill on people who don't have a degree like you. Because there's a lot of people who are very intelligent, who didn't go back to school to get a degree. I was one of them. I'm a non-traditional student. I went back years later after traveling the United States and things like that. I did what I saw on TV where, white kids say, I don't want to go directly to college. Because the truth of the matter is, I dropped out of high school due to racism. Not because I was stupid, because I was one of the most intelligent people in the class, if not in the school. But I dropped out due to racism in that school. But like Mark Twain said, I would never let school interfere with my education. I continued to learn. I continued to grow. I traveled. I dealt with a lot of situations, worked for a lot of companies. And my sister one day heard me speaking about things that was going on in the government, and she was saying, you should go back to school for political science, because that's what you're actually speaking about. This is a political science topic. And I've always loved that. I've always loved political science. So I went back to school. I did a 2-year college, then I transferred to a 4-year college. My point is this: just because you have a diploma don't mean you have an education. A lot of these places have indoctrinators, which means you're not being taught by professors, you're being indoctrinated by an indoctrinator. This is what it is. So with these organizations, it becomes a problem when people start looking down on other people because they're not a part of the organization, or because of the fact that they're not at the educational level that you believe that you are because you have a degree. And I'm telling you this, as much as I listened and respected a lot of the stuff that came out of the ADOS movement, Tone and Yvette, the way they speak about certain people turned me off. Because those people are my people. You can educate a person without speaking ill on a person. And if you're still in the movement, fine, cool. I'm not against you. I'm not against them. I've just outgrown that. I'm here to fight for our people truly overall. I don't care what you call yourself. I have no ego to inflate. You can be FBA, you can be ADOS, you could be Negro, you can be whatever you call yourself. For me, we're American freedmen because that's our actual status. And I moved away from all the nonsense. And yes, I claim foundational Black American because, to be honest with you, that's a lineage. We're claiming our lineage and we're not claiming organizations. I wouldn't care if you called yourself DOAS, descendants of American slaves, because that's what it's supposed to be. But when it comes to legal terms, it's always going to be American freedmen. And I just had to get that out because there's a lot of people who don't like the fact that, I'll be giving shots out to Tariq. Back in the day, you wouldn't hear me sit here and say I'm FBA. I might have said I'm ADOS. because that was the group that put out the information that pulled me into this situation. I don't want to say put me into reparations because I've been speaking about reparations. I mean understanding the lineage situation on that side. But when we're speaking about lineage, we can't sit here and say that we have a lineage and then create an organization. Now everything must go through that organization as if there's law. No. I don't agree with a lot of things from a lot of people, especially when they're talking about pocket watching people after they get their reparations. We have to be able to, no. Reparations is exactly what it's supposed to be, reparations. So each person that gets that, do what they will with it. That has nothing to do with me. That's not my business. And anybody that think that it is their business to pocket watch someone else for the funds that was owed to them,
Shame on your black ass, all right?
and I'm gonna continue to say it. No. What you do with what you do is what you do, but what I do is what I do. And we'll continue to grow because a lot of people, whether folks want to believe it or not, a lot of people are very business savvy. You give them a certain amount of money, they're not just going to go spend it up. And a lot of the people that do just go and spend it up, I truly believe, and this is me, I might be wrong, I truly believe a lot of them were tethers. And they, the same way they take something that happens with a tether and put it on the black community, when a tether get over here and they go start buying all this flashy stuff, I believe they put that on us too. And that's just my belief. But my point is this, if they were really afraid that we would act like that, they wouldn't be so hesitant to pay reparations. They would have already gave it to us knowing it was going right back into their own pockets. But they know the history of our people. They know the history of us building not just cities, but economic wealth in this country. The reason why they destroyed Black Wall Street and so many other of our black owned and black ran cities. This is the facts. But I digress. Let's get back to this and we're going to end off real soon here. We got the tethers coming out for Kamala as well. Tatiana Ali, little Ashley Banks from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, who played a black American on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. She comes out and she gets with old girl, I can't even remember her name, old girl that was on Moesha, who played a black American mother. She gets with her and they put on a Cheryl Lee Ralph, I think is her name. They get together and they put on this whole tether for Kamala. Tethers for Kamala is what they're over here putting on. Now remember, first it was black women for Kamala. But yet they didn't put out the Zoom call where they broke Zoom apparently. So we don't even know if that really happened. Then Roland Martin went on talking about black men for Kamala. And now you have Caribbean Americans rally for Kamala. This is the nonsense. However, all this has been promoted, by the way. You know what wasn't promoted? The 72,000 attendees who were in a Zoom call who said that they're not for Kamala. I'm gonna play a little bit.
propaganda onslaught, the things that we've seen over the past couple of weeks. I mean, it's insane. It's a very well-oiled machine, right? What we do have in our favor is that people do not trust any of this stuff anymore. At this point in the game, people know that they're being propagandized. So I think that a lot of people on this Zoom have the opportunity to reach out to people directly that are either done with the propaganda and also, by the way, are never going to follow any of, these Trump people, right? Are never really going to listen to anything that they're saying. So I would have some faith in our messaging and in the people that you can reach.
Then just a matter.
Yeah, I'm not going to play that all. If you want to go and look at this video, you can go over here to Dom Lecrae and check out his video. Be very warned that Lecrae has been very suspect when it comes to the black community as well, but I do appreciate him posting this video. Don't know the man, gotta get to know the man, but I'm just telling you what I've seen from time to time. But moving on, while we have this situation going on, Trump went over there and did the interview with the black journalist. And I want to play that because you have a lot of nonsense going on when you have a former sitting president sitting in front of you and someone who may very well be the next president of the United States, whether you want to believe it or not. But instead of asking for any policy, reparations, or anything that benefits the black Americans, instead of asking about a hate crime bill for black Americans, we had a bunch of nonsensical bull stuff from this woman who may not even be black American. Let's check into it, family.
I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Notice how this has nothing to do with the interests of black Americans, nothing to do with politics. You're trying to emotionalize what was going on or what you say happened so that black Americans cannot want to vote for this man. Instead of asking this man about policies, about hate crime bills, about reparations for our people. That's how you know you're a shill. You're sent out there to be a shill. You're not out here speaking for black interests, because the person who speaks for black interests is going to ask about what are you going to do for black people. I don't care what you did in the past, because the optics of the situation in the past isn't always going to be the optics of the situation of the future. Who signed the Civil Rights Bill? Lyndon B, right? He was a stone cold racist, but he was forced to sign that bill. Abraham Lincoln did not want to free the slaves, but he was forced to free the slaves. So when you sit here and you have an opportunity to ask the might-be president what he's going to do for black Americans, and you actually use a bunch of Democratic jargon to try to make him look bad. You yourself has made yourself look bad. You've made him a victim. And you made yourself look stupid. As if we're not going to be able to see that you're out here pushing Democratic talking points. The other two sisters on stage didn't do that. Even though they asked questions that Trump probably didn't like, they still was able to ask the questions with decor. This Rachel Scott character, who I believe is Ghanaian, she definitely didn't do such, did she? Let's continue. Let's hear the snapback from Trump, because I ain't gonna lie, I loved his snapback. I don't like Trump at all. But his snapback on this, A1.
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network.
And you got all these folks cheering for him as he's sitting there telling her off. Now, Trump did make a mistake. And you're going to hear it in a second.
And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for black workers and black entrepreneurs. I've done so much, and and I say this, historically black colleges and universities were out of money, they were stone cold broke, and I saved them, and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that, and let me go a step further. I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then you said, you can't do it with Zoom. Well, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late, just so we understand. I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working or something was wrong.
Mr. President, I would love if you can answer the question on your rhetoric and why you believe that black voters should trust you with another 4 years.
I have been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President Johnson, who signed the Voting Rights Act?
For you to
Now, that's where he messed up. Because, to be honest with you, that's just some egotistical stuff to say. I've been the best president for the black community since Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln wasn't even the best president for the black community. The black community has never had the best president. We force presidents to do stuff. So when you speak about Abraham Lincoln, we forced him to do that. When you speak about Lyndon B. Johnson the same way she just did, better than Lyndon B. Johnson, who signed the Voting Rights Act, that's how you know she's a tether. She don't know the history, because he was a staunch racist. Stone cold racist. But yet she's trying to say better than Lyndon B. Johnson because she's trying to get him in a gotcha moment. So this woman has shown herself to be a straight puppet of the Democratic Party instead of a journalist of the black community. Yes, Trump messed up by saying that, but guess what? You also messed up by then throwing out a way worse racist who put policies in place just like Joe Biden did against the black community. I don't care if he signed the Voters' Rights Act. He was a stone cold racist. Let's continue.
Start off a question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work in such a hostile manner. I think it's a disgrace. I really do.
Let me just ask a follow-up, sir, and then we'll move on to other questions.
So, family, I just wanted you guys to see all this and understand that, god dang it, we're in a time where we're being heard. We're absolutely being heard. And we got a lot of shills and a lot of tethers and a lot of coons. The coons united, trying to water our message down, water down our agenda, even to the point where they have the man right in front of them. They can't speak on the black agenda. They would rather try to attack him on the biases of, or the basis of, Kamala's race. And that's the fact. Speaking of Kamala, Sheila Jackson Lee passed away, and Kamala gave the eulogy. I'm gonna play a very short piece of this clip, and then we're gonna move over to my last point.
We're going to take you over to Houston. You see Vice President Kamala Harris there. She's delivering a eulogy for Democratic Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, who died on July 19th after being treated for pancreatic cancer. The Congresswoman was 74 years old. Let's listen.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, church. Please have a seat. Good afternoon.
You guys tell me, does this woman look saddened by the loss of Sheila Jackson Lee? As one of the last people to run up on Sheila Jackson Lee, one of the last people to see her, Sheila Jackson Lee looked more sad than this woman does with Sheila Jackson Lee being passed away. She looked sad because I ran up on her and held her feet to the fire. However, she still looked way sadder than Kamala looked at her at Sheila Jackson Lee's funeral. Just wanted to show that. And since you're there at Sheila Jackson Lee's funeral talking about you're honoring your friend, News Trot, which is a black-owned news network, I don't always agree with them, but they ask a very simple question that I agree with. Would Biden honor Sheila Jackson Lee with executive action on reparations? But now I want to kind of switch that narrative there, not really narrative, the title of that. I wanted to say, will Kamala honor Sheila Jackson Lee with executive action on reparations? Because I'm going to be very honest with you, I don't believe, or no, I don't know that she will. I doubt that she would ever do such a thing. And even if she did, it would be for the commission, not the reparations. It would be for the commission, not the reparations. Oh, I don't have a problem signing the commission into office. Let me sign a bill saying we're going to have a commission on reparations. And that commission is going to be around for 10, 15 years before we even start cutting the check. No. If you're going to do a commission, check should be cut right along with the enactment of these commissions. Because what ends up happening is these people that are on these committees, they're paid to be on these committees for however long it takes for the committee to come with their conclusion. Basically, they're being paid while we're sitting here still going through the issues we're going through. While we're still going through the issues we're going through. So for me, that is the major question. Will Kamala honor Sheila Jackson Lee with executive action on reparations. And not just a study, actual tangible reparations. Reparative justice, restitution, protections, and everything else that you gave to the Indians, the Native Americans, so-called Native Americans, the Asians of Japan, hell, even what you gave the former slave owners. So to recap, we got these people out here talking like us, acting like us. We got people calling out Kamami, I'm so black nonsense. And all the bootlicks that are running around saying she's black without her saying she's black herself. You got young brothers really coming out, even if they're famous, standing up against Kamala like Swae Lee. You got these Democratic shills out here trying to co-opt the Not Like Us song, knowing it has nothing to do with them. You got your Meg Thee Stallions coming out tap dancing super hard. You got black women calling out that nonsense, as they should. Kamala then got the nomination due to some fake audience attendance or support that's been manufactured online and offline. You got the Democratic shills like D.L. Hughley calling us bots again. Even though that cost Kamala the first time she ran, because we was out here putting her on blast, and so was D.L. Hughley. Coons United is out here letting people know that they're going to be mobilizing for Kamala. And instead of Rachel Scott doing what she's supposed to do to represent Black Americans, she chose to speak for the Democrats. Just know, family, this is what we're up against. This is what's been going on. But the new black media, we're here to hold their feet to the fire until it burns. And then after it burns, if they're not saying or doing what they're supposed to do, we're going to keep it there until the flesh is gone and there's nothing but bones. That's what we're here to do, family. We're not here for the shenanigans or the chicanery. We're here to represent the black grassroots. We're here to represent Black Americans to the best of our ability. And whenever we're not, we hold it in your hands to hold us accountable, because that's what a representative does. And with that being said, family and friends, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell so you can be notified whenever videos like this drop. Please make sure you're hitting that like and share button so we can beat up the algorithm. Make sure we get this message out to the ears that need to hear. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this whole situation that's going on. And if you have not done so yet, please hit that link in the description, go to change.org and put your signature on the petition for reparations. Family, we all we got and we all we need. Let's continue to amplify our agenda and call these people out who tried to change it. Because it doesn't change because they say it changed. It only changed when things actually happen for us and we no longer need it. And with that being said, family and friends, the doors of the church are now closed. Peace, family.